The Chinese housing market, once a symbol of rapid economic growth and prosperity, is now facing a tumultuous collapse, with major players like Evergrande filing for bankruptcy and other smaller but equally significant players like Country Garden missing some crucial payments. This crisis has profound implications not just for China's own financial stability, but also for the dreams of young people who are seeking to enter the property market. Evergrande's downfall has become a bit of a tipping point. It is one of China's largest real estate developers. It has long been a symbol of the nation's frenzied property boom. Its ambitious expansion and high debt levels has finally caught up with the company. Just earlier this month, Evergrande's financial struggles culminated in its declaration of bankruptcy by filing for Chapter 11 at the New York Stock Exchange. It sent shockwaves through both the domestic and global markets. This collapse had wide-ranging repercussions, affecting not just investors in that company or investors in the entire Chinese real estate market, but also home buyers, employees, and China's overall economic outlook. Country Garden has also missed some payments in the month of August, and that has further amplified concerns. Country Garden is another prominent player in the Chinese market, particularly in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, and that missing payments has also added to mounting concerns. The company's failure to make some scheduled payments in the month of August and likely missing some more in September have highlighted the growing vulnerabilities within the housing sector. These incidents have eroded investor confidence, leading to a ripple effect which has now spread uncertainty throughout the industry and the broader economy. In fact, the Chinese stock markets are down about 20% from their year's highs about a couple of months ago. The Chinese youth are facing the knock-on effect of this. As the housing market falters, young people in China are facing mounting challenges in their pursuit of their dreams. The skyrocketing property prices, fueled by years of speculation and unregulated growth, have pushed home ownership further out of reach for the average millennial or the average young professional. Rapid urbanization and population growth has driven demand in the past, while government policies aimed at cooling the market have not had much success. The housing affordability crisis is because of the inability of young people to afford homes, which can be attributed to a multitude of factors. Spiraling property prices are at the forefront, thereby making even modest accommodations unattainable for many young people. Average salaries have been struggling to keep pace with rising living costs, and as a result, the dream of owning a home has increasingly become elusive. The issue is particularly acute in major urban centers where job opportunities are concentrated, but property prices have reached stratospheric heights. So hopes are fading for home ownership for young people, because amid these daunting challenges, a significant portion of China's youth have simply relinquished the hope of ever being able to own a house. The prevailing sentiment among many young adults is that home ownership is no longer a realistic goal. Sky-high prices coupled with uncertainties in the housing market, these have led to many simply abandoning the idea of owning property and instead opting for renting. But it's not just home ownership. Overall, there seems to be a sense of gloom among China's youth. A dark cloud is hanging over Chinese who were born in the 1990s and in the 2000s. Since Xi Jinping won power in 2012, the government has grown more repressive and Chinese society less vibrant. Chinese censors have put in place a Great Firewall. The internet has become a much more drearier place, whereas nationalist trolls, on the other hand, are drumming in the state's agenda. At various universities across the country, students are grappling with Xi Jinping's rather forbidding personal ideology. And worst of all for some Chinese students, the economy is stagnating. The unemployment rate for those aged between 16 and 24 is at a staggering 21%, which means 1 out of 5 young Chinese person is unemployed. It's a number that is so disheartening that earlier this month, the government simply stopped publishing the data. University graduates are finding that the skills that they have spent years learning are not the ones that employers want. Scarce jobs and punishing property prices have dashed their hopes of buying a home or starting a family. In fact, on Chinese social media, the popular talk among young people is tangping, or lying flat, or bailan, which is simply letting it rot. These are synonyms that Chinese youth are just giving up. In China, there are about 350 million people between the age of 16 and 35. This is a far serious concern than what the government would acknowledge. The ladder to a better life is being lifted away from millennials and Gen Z. And in response, many are simply choosing to abandon the rat race. So, what are the implications for China's immediate future? The collapse of giants like Evergrande and the ongoing struggles of property developers like Country Garden underscore a deep-rooted malaise in the Chinese economic system. The lack of adequately well-paying jobs for China's young, that is affecting the government's overall favorability. But here's the catch: China is not a democracy. Incumbent Xi Jinping is perhaps the strongest leader China has seen since Mao Zedong. That doesn't make him unpopular, it just shows that the party will have to do more to win over the trust of China's young. It was similarly disillusioned young students who brought about the seismic Tiananmen Square rebellion back in 1989. It was the most tumultuous period in Chinese Communist Party's history. Xi Jinping at that time was in the faraway Fujian province. He was an up-and-coming provincial secretary of the party, but it did shape some of his worldviews, particularly when it comes to the supremacy of the party and its ideology and skepticism towards Western influences. That is a message which in today's China, and particularly among China's young, there are far fewer takers for that message, but Xi Jinping would rather die trying to convince them than just give in.